Okay. Maybe I'm live, maybe I'm not. I don't care at this point in time. Um, I'm just streaming to whoever wants to hear. So this is Buddha. Buddha PCU. We're gonna talk about whatever the hell you want to talk about. No one's gonna subscribe to my channel. No one's gonna listen because it doesn't matter. I am a nothing. However, I would like to comment on certain things like what's going on in Canada with the truckers. Lovely people. We're going to talk a little bit about Joe Rogan. Awesome guy. We're going to talk a little bit about whatever you want to talk about. Hey, if anyone shows up, if anyone wants to comment, I will talk to you about whatever the hell you want to talk about. This is just an open channel, open dialogue. So, this is my first time live streaming. I have not really been on YouTube for a long time on this channel. This channel is originally I created this channel so that I could teach people yoga, teach people how to move. I am still about that. Have I've had to pivot over the past couple years into a different way of looking at things. So here we are. Uh, if you want, look, let's warm up. Let's warm up with a little bit of hand rolls, right? Hey, hey, everyone. If you're here, if you want to be here now. One of my favorite books. Go read it. It is it's a bit esoteric, but I would I would advocate that everyone go out and read whatever they can. So here we are. Anyway, starting the class. Roll the wrists. Now stick the arms straight out in front. Really roll those shoulders forward. Now point the fingers up and then curl those fists down. Up and down. Now, this is really good for anyone who works on the keyboard or is a keyboard warrior, whatever you want to call yourself. Anyway, so just do that a couple times, up. We're trying to keep our fingers as straight up as possible, right? So as much as you can, keep your wrist 90 degrees, right? Even if you have to like force it a little bit. You don't want to force it a lot, but challenge yourself. And then rolling down and again push your wrist down trying to get that 90-degree angle. We want that. We want that. After that, we're going to do out, in, out, in, right? All you're doing is rotating your wrists. But what we're doing here is we're exercising the tendons, the ligaments, everything within these joints that we need to. That way, they don't degrade as bad as they will. Because eventually we will all get there. Age is something that we'll have to deal with. But again, that's what connects us. The parts of humanity that connect us are more than those that divide us, which is where I would like to position this stream now. So that's my transition. Hopefully it worked. Anyway, so we are here in this time, a time where for some reason certain people are allowed to say very hateful things, even though most of us know they're hateful, but because they're on the side of the authoritarian governments, the governments that dictate what is right and wrong to us now, it's allowed to pass. Is it okay to discriminate in the present in order to erase discrimination of the past? No, never. That's that fighting evil, fighting if you kill someone and then you kill someone in order to avenge that killing, is that right? That's the problem that we are currently facing. Is it okay to discriminate against a people because of the past? What does that say about someone? Does discrimination, does the matter that we should openly hate groups of people because of their skin color translate into our current reality? Does it? I don't think it does. I am not an old man, but I'm not a young man either. I've lived through a lot. I've been many different people, a jack of all trades and a master of none, as some songs go. And yet I have found in my life an acceptance. Of course, I'm not perfect. No one is perfect. But I am at ease with that. Will I apologize if I make a mistake? Of course, because mistakes are going to be made. I make an innumerable amount of mistakes. I will continue to make mistakes until I die because I'm a human. I don't think that we should. Sometimes I think that mistakes shouldn't be judged as harshly as they are. But that being what it may, here we are. I would love for people to just understand that it's okay. It's okay to make mistakes. Uh, I was just watching today Viva Frey, uh, a great YouTuber who is covering the protests in Ottawa. Um, he was going throughout asking people their opinion. Nothing nothing out of the ordinary. It is just it's fundamental journalism, essentially. Um, he is a lawyer though, but since journalists can't do journalism, lawyers or regular people have to do it now. So he goes, and I watched, I think it was a 2-hour stream, something like that. I didn't watch all of it. Of course not, because doing this and that, Um, I will say this. I find the authenticity of such a stream far superior to any amount of pomp and circumstance that a mainstream pardon me, that a mainstream channel can put in. For example, there was the newly announced G4 channel, which I am going to out myself as perhaps a nerd or whatnot, but um, I have always been a champion of video games and Dungeons and Dragons. Um, I've always loved discourse and fantasy, especially the fact that we can make fantasy worlds where perhaps in whatever fantasy world we care to create, maybe things aren't as great, maybe things aren't uh as equitable, maybe in these fantasy worlds, certain people just have to be I don't know, what would you say? Like whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Uh, all I want to say about fantasy worlds is that they're fantasy. They are pure fantasy. Um, does that mean that you should erase them because the creator of these fantasy worlds um, did not believe in certain things, right? No, you shouldn't. It doesn't make any sense. But this is what we're seeing more and more. You know, uh, now I'm gonna transition from so originally this channel Buddha CPU. This is a yoga channel. I started this channel to teach people yoga, to teach people mindfulness. Um, if they cared to listen, it's fine. It is what it is. I've stepped out of that role for the past couple years. I'm fully admitting that. Um, I after after the changes that happened after the uh, the COVID, or I guess I shouldn't say that word. I don't know anymore. Um, but I see. I'm not up on the lingo. I don't know if I'm gonna get canceled for saying certain things. However, I will say that I've tried to help people, and I don't it's not that I don't want to help people anymore, it's the fact that I don't wanna unduly influence someone, right? I don't want my I as someone who just wants to teach the pure aspect of yoga, I don't want to un I don't want to influence someone because of my perspective on the world. I only wanna teach yoga. That's it. And the fact of the matter is that, um, over the past couple years, yoga has been infiltrated, as far as I know, by, uh, the same people who have infiltrated a lot of other institutions. And so they're spreading this, I want to call it a hatred, but it's not a hatred. It's more uh it's a guilt, right? They're spreading a guilt complex. And I've encountered it in several different people that I know, uh, in my world, who have, even though they're a certain skin color, have also told people that they should hate people of that same skin color. If that's, I don't want to go into too many specifics because of YouTube. Um, but that's how it's worked. Um, you should never feel guilt for people that are dead. If your grandfather killed somebody or your grandmother killed somebody, could be, that happened. Should you feel guilty? And that's not even counting the fact that, let's group everyone together. That's the thing it's really disheartening, is that we are not a homogeneous mass. Every person is an individual. Every single one of us has a voice, has a thought process. And for any individual to stand up and say that I speak for such and such a people, that's unacceptable. Unacceptable. You do not speak for me. I speak for me. I think that's what I'm really getting at right now, is the fact that I have a voice. We all have a voice. And now, if you're going to say that you speak for me, you better talk to me before you go out there and say what you say. If you are a public person, if you are someone in our government, you better listen to your constituents because we have something to say. And if I raise my voice, I'm not going to apologize because I raised it on purpose. I am not asking you. I am telling you. If you are in a public office, you work for me. You work for us. Do not confuse this subject. I don't know why I have to come online and say this publicly, but I have to. The fact of the matter is that we are your bosses. The people who pay taxes, we know what you're doing. Trying to silence us is not going to work. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? I guess I don't need to speak any louder then. I know you are listening. Do you know how I know you're listening? Because you keep reacting. You keep reacting in the most authoritarian ways. Now that's cute for the moment, but it won't work in the long run. Do you know why? People will not be held back. Do you know what you have to do to somebody in order to hold them back? Look at North Korea. By the way, we should probably stop that shit from happening. But that's neither here nor there. That's not what this is about. That will be a later podcast. Because I have also studied a lot of things. 안녕하세요. I love the world. I love all the cultures of the world. Do you know what all the cultures of the world need? Freedom. Freedom of expression, freedom of speech, freedom of protest. When you demonize people, you better have a damn good reason to do so. Otherwise, the people will come for you. And that's it. Good night.